Good afternoon. 13 minutes, 15 minutes past 1 p.m. It's another Tuesday. And you're welcome to the Executive Lounge with me, Nhyira Addo. And it's already the 10th day in the month of March. Time does fly. There's something wrong with 2020. It's the second Tuesday and the second installment of 5 awesome conversations with some powerful women who are braving and blazing the trail to greatness and impact both here at home and around the world. And we aim to bring you those stories every week on the Executive Lounge. We started off our very first Women's Month special from last week with our guest talking about Nabia of bassinets and more. So today my guest on the show is another versatile and brave woman who is Haitian Canadian, okay? And she'll be sharing with us quite a lot of insight. She's a singer, a songwriter, and also an author. In fact, she's authored a book that is definitely worth reading. And I will be telling you all about it in a moment. So my guest is Spacey. She sings and she cooks. And, she just published a recipe book called Vegan Creole Secrets, in which she twists some classic Haitian Creole dishes and presents a new vegan variety. And she presents healthy choices to anyone interested in quality nutrition for the body, mind, and soul. Now, today's conversation is a very important one because we all believe, and you'd agree with me, that progress is more readily attainable when there's a balance between mind, body, and soul. There are several ways of achieving this, but one of the ways is ensuring you're eating the right foods and you're building your mind with the right tools to ensure that your body, mind, and soul are in sync in pursuit of your passion. So I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to jump straight into the conversation so we can have a great chat. In the meantime, if you do have thoughts or comments you want to share with us on the subject matter, please send us a WhatsApp on 0244 340437 or same number on Telegram. And hopefully we can also open the telephone lines at some point. But at this moment, 18 minutes past 1, this is the Executive Lounge, and you're welcome to the show, Spacey.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor and a pleasure to meet with you and to have this conversation with you. So, you're Haitian Canadian.
Yes.
Help us appreciate who Spacey is and the journey so far.
Okay. First, my name is pronounced Spicy.
Spicy?
Yes.
Oh, God, forgive me.
Like the spicy food.
Okay. So it's a creation of yours in the spelling of the name.
No, this is my name.
Okay.
This is my name.
Wow.
Spicy Basil, yes.
Spicy Basil.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
I like the sound of that. But
Thank
is it a French? Was it meant to mean spicy?
I think it's just Creole.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, you learn a thing or two every day. So, originally, your heritage is Haitian.
That's right.
Where were you born?
I'm born in Montreal, Canada.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But to Haitian heritage.
Heritage, very strong.
That's right. So, over the years, you studied education. But somehow there's something inside of you that just kept steering you towards the path that you've chosen. What about your upbringing and your roots kept you aligned to the passion that you're following now?
I think my first inspiration is my grandma. And like you were saying, I was a teacher, but I felt that there was something bigger. And so I was looking for it. And then when I realized that when you're abroad, that's when your roots are becoming even stronger.
Mm.
And that's what kept me going, going, going. And I think today everything I do can reflect my roots.
And this has brought you all the way to Accra, Ghana.
All the way to Accra, which is a very, very nice, a really good place that actually reminds me of the Caribbean.
It does. I get that a lot from anyone who's stayed in the Caribbean and they visit Ghana. They tend to say, well, Ghana reminds me of my home. I get that from Jamaicans, you get that from the Trinidadians or people from St. Vincent. They tend to, and so now from Haiti,
Right.
we're hearing that as well. Now, you've been around quite a lot of places. You released your first album in 2008.
Right.
First Intuition. Is it First Intuition? What inspired that very first album?
I think the first album was a way to express sadness, actually, or the unsaid. Everything that you cannot really express with, I would say, words, music will take you there.
Mm-hmm.
So this album was all about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would like us to really delve straight into the essence of our conversation today, which is well-being and wealth-being
Right.
of the woman. I believe this, and I hope everyone joins me in believing this, that society is what it is, will be what it can become because of women. And so for a very important part of our society, it would be good for us to be able to tap all and really open the doors and windows to the full potential that every woman has. And one of those things is having a fine balance between the mind, body, soul. And a lot of this for you, you've discovered that starts with what you eat.
Yeah.
How did you make that discovery?
Well, I think the first thing is to be conscious about what's going on inside.
Mm.
That's the first step. And for a woman to be aligned and thriving and pursuing succeeding,
Mm-hmm.
you have to reconnect with your feminine power. Because of how society is set up, very often we are in a masculine energy. So we need to acknowledge that and balance. That's the first step to me.
Okay.
And then once you understand that, everything else that you do, you're more conscious about it. Then you kind of understand your own temple, your physical temple, your spiritual temple, and then it's like a plan to, okay, how can I make it better?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where you get to, okay, the food that you're eating, the action, the people around me, your circle actually, even your circle. Everything you do, everything you choose will help you to become better.
Wonderful. It's 24 minutes past 1. This is the Executive Lounge. My guest in the studio is Spicy Basil. We'll call her Spicy. And she sings and she cooks. And we're journeying through her life and getting a sense of why it's important for women, but also by extension men, to explore how the nutrition helps nourish body, mind, and soul. And then we'll talk a bit more about wealth creation as well, something that you're very passionate about as well. Now, the book you've just recently authored, so you're vegan.
Right.
And so it's not surprising that your recipe book is a vegan recipe book. Why vegan? What are the hidden gems in living a vegan life that we all need to learn about?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you said vegan life, because it's not just a trend, it's definitely a lifestyle. I became vegan because of music, because I realized that when I go on stage and I eat certain food, then my body's lighter and my spirit's more sharper. And that's how I started. And that was the first link of what I eat and my state of mind. And then it just, I just followed that. And then and I discovered things. But on the journey to become vegan, I really had to study what to eat. How to get for example, my proteins, how to get iron, especially for women. We need that. So I had to study. And then it became a journey of really understanding why we're doing what we do, why we're eating certain food. So it's bigger than just food. Actually, the food becomes medicine. So that's how I decided to write a vegan book to share that journey with people and to inform people on what to eat to reach out optimal health. Really.
And what were the marked improvements that you observed as part of embracing a vegan lifestyle?
Yes, well, the first improvement was definitely the mindset. The mindset, the energy. If you want to achieve something, you need to have the energy to do it, to follow, action. And by becoming vegan, it was one of the best things. To keep that energy and keep going.
Wow. All right. Now, the food you eat in the Caribbean is very largely similar to some of the stuff that we have here.
Yes.
But your work takes you around the world and you travel quite often. If I find myself in a similar situation but would want to live a life, a vegan life, and be able to eat foods that will unleash my inner potential, sound mind, strong body, so I'm able to do more.
That's right.
What are the things that you ought to look out for when you're eating from a place that you didn't necessarily cook the food?
Well, that's rule number one. If you're vegan, you need to learn how to cook. That's rule number one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, can be difficult.
Okay.
Yes, but you need to learn how to cook, and by cooking, it becomes a spiritual activity because you're really taking the time to nourish your temple, to nurture your temple. So you're actually picking exactly what you want to cook. So you're cooking with intentions, and we all know that it starts with intentions to manifest an idea.
You keep using the expression temple, that the body being a temple. In the spirit of empowering women and men alike, why is the body a temple, and how should you treat this temple to be able to get the best out of yourself?
Well, when you think about it, the only place on earth that you have to live, it's in that temple. So that is the only place you have. So might as well take care of it.
So what do you do as part of your own personal regime? So you wake up in the morning. What's the day in the life of Spicy like?
I like fasting, actually. I like fasting because fasting allows you to cleanse and to be in a meditative mode, and you find answers in silence. And while your body is cleansing, you find answers. So I usually don't really have breakfast in the morning. It depends. Some people, they would like to have some, but for me, no. I like to cleanse, to fast in the morning, and to listen to my body as well. Try to eat when I really feel hunger. Yes.
So you eat when you feel hungry?
It's the best.
Okay.
It's the best. Yes.
So you don't eat because it's, a box that you need to tick. Okay, I woke up at 5. Oh, by 7, I have to eat. Tick. It's 9 in the morning. I need a snack. Tick. Midday, I have to have lunch. Then you tick.
We've been programmed like that, actually.
Right. And
We've been programmed.
how is doing anything differently to that beneficial to the human being?
Well, the thing is, when you become vegan, you really have to listen to your body. You really have to pay attention to how you react to food. And certain food will have a reaction on you. For example, for women, before the cycle, it's good to eat, in English it's okra.
Okay, yeah.
In
okra.
Creole, it's Callaloo.
Ah, So every time I hear Callaloo, you're talking about okra.
That's right.
I used to think it was something I wouldn't find here. Okay, well, it's abundant here.
Yes, Callaloo.
Okay, and what would that do for the body?
Well, Callaloo is medicine. That's one thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, it's packed with iron. There's proteins in it. So when you are vegan, the biggest issue sometimes is that people don't have enough protein, not enough iron, not enough vitamins. But this vegetable is full of it, and there's a lot of fiber. So it's something very good, a good source for women, especially before their cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in pain, you don't have patience, everything falls. But if you eat the proper food, your state of mind will change, your mood, everything else. And you know, if a woman is not in a good mood, everybody will suffer from it.
Tell me about that. But I think that, in extrapolating that statement now to the workplace, for example, your interactions with people, family, work, customers, it's important that you relate to people nicely. But if there's a physiological process ongoing,
there you go,
and you're not eating right, then you end up giving people a negative vibe, which is reflected back on you.
Domino effect. Your whole day will go bad, will go down, And for example, if you're someone who eats a lot of sugar in the morning, you'll have a boost, but then an hour after you will have a crash down. And when you have the crash down, then you become in a bad mood. You're craving sugar again. Vicious circle. You go for sugar again, and then diabetes, and then other things come, into play. So it's all connected.
Right. So let's look at 3 types, and not types of women, for the lack of a better expression. 3 different kinds of women by what they do. So we'll start off with an artist, which is you. Of course, sports people, we know they like to eat, all kinds. But someone who has a very active life, okay? An artist is somebody in a creative space requiring a lot of mental capacity. And then someone who works in the market and needs a lot of energy, interacting with lots of people. Are there specific kinds of foods that you must eat for what you do?
Yes, and it's not only about what you do, it's about your own metabolism, what kind of person you are. Some people, they don't need to eat that much and they're okay. The same way that some people, they need to sleep 4 hours a day and they're okay. Others, it's 8 hours, otherwise it's not going to work for them. So it's not about what you do. You define the action. So it's all about your metabolism, your system. We're all different. And maybe broccoli is good for you, but it's not for me because my body will not digest it.
How do I know what's good for me?
Then you have to try it. You try it and see how you react to it. It's the same thing in life. How would you know if you're going to succeed or not? You have to take the risk. Take the step.
Try again.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's not about, it's essentially, let me try and get the understanding right. What you're saying is not what you do that should determine what you eat. It's what works with your body.
That's right. Because some athletes, yes, they will go for a lot of meat, but you do have some other athletes that are vegan. But both are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's not about what you do.
I actually watched a documentary recently. I think it's called Game Changers on Netflix. And some of the high performing athletes around the world, from Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton, some weightlifting guy lifting insane weights, and the guy's vegan.
Yes.
But is that supposed to say that we should all stop eating meat and just become vegan? Because they're equally high-performing personalities who are not necessarily vegan.
I don't believe that everybody has to be vegan because, again, it's different for everybody. Maybe your blood type is not adapted to become vegan. So there's many factors. I don't think everybody has to be vegan, but there are common laws. For example, if you eat a lot of meat, of course your body will be heavy because it takes more time for your system to digest. And it takes less time for veggies to be digested. So that alone makes a difference on how you're going to feel. If you come on the radio and you feel very heavy after like a big meal, the way you will address the people will be totally different. So I don't think everybody has to be vegan, but we have to be conscious about what we're eating. And vegan is one of the ways to improve.
So which came to you first? The stepping out of your comfort zone of teaching after your master's in education from University of Manitoba to become vegan first, or to pursue the musical journey first? Which came first?
I was eating meat.
Okay.
No, I was an artist, so I'm an artist who became vegan.
Right. So the musical journey started first.
Yes.
Okay. And what was that moment of epiphany that made you decide or recognize that this might actually be the best way to go?
That was on stage, a show in Brussels, Belgium. I remember I didn't have the time to eat a lot. I usually don't eat a lot before a performance, but this time there was no meat, no fish, no eggs, and I went on stage, and it was one of the best show ever.
Wow.
Since that moment, I decided to try it again, and that's how I really realized that, okay, there's something there, and I started to connect the dots. Yeah.
Wow. So our audience already sending in a number of questions. Now, Linda in Osu says, good afternoon. How best should okra or callaloo be eating to get the best out of it?
Okay, that's a really good question. Some of the veggies you can have raw, but it depends on the people and the taste. But I think both ways with okras is okay. If it's cooked, but not cooked to the point that it's so soft that you lose everything, even though you will still get some of the nutrients. I think if it's still a little bit crispy in your recipe, that's the best.
Okay. All right. So I'd like you to clarify something. We just got a comment from, okay, so we didn't have a name on this one, but saying that okra is not callaloo. Now, is callaloo, so apparently it's a spinach type leaf. Okay. Now, is this a Creole expression, or can you clarify what you mean by?
I can definitely, and I love it.
All right.
I love it because it's all about bridging the gap between cultures. And yes, in Guadeloupe, Callaloo is a leaf. But in Haiti, Callaloo is okra.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks for the clarification. So at least,
and thanks for the question.
Yeah. All right. Now, it's a very, very interesting conversation. So you're saying that for women to reach their full potential, and empowerment actually starts from within, and it starts with what you eat.
Definitely.
What kinds of you talked about the kind of food that would be good, Precycle. One of the most difficult things for a woman to deal with, I mean, life after birth, sometimes it's life after, around the big M, menopause. Are there foods that in vegan lifestyle you'll be able to have to make these changes in the phases of your life more bearable?
Yes, but once again, it's different for every woman. Some will have menopause like very early, but some will have it very late. So it depends. It depends on your system. But of course, there are some common food that will help you to have, more magnesium, so you'll be more relaxed, or more copper. So you just need, like I was saying, you just need to really explore and see how your body reacts to it. For example, you have what they call superfood, like moringa, spirulina, chlorella, you can name them. And for me, for instance, I tried the chlorella. Everybody was like, oh, you need to try that. It will give you an energy, a boost, and did nothing for me.
Right.
But for example, I just discovered in Ghana, and I'm really glad, I hope I'm going to pronounce right, agushi.
Agushi, okay, yeah.
Agushi seeds, which is very powerful. Which is very powerful. So again,
what has that done for you? What have you discovered?
Well, because there are proteins in the agushi. There's iron as well. It's a good source of fibers. So you definitely need proteins, because when you are stopping the meat, where are you going to find the protein? So you need to have a variety of food available with protein. And so you have to explore, you have to discover things, you have to try and see what's best for you. That's what I would recommend.
Wow. Well, so agushi is a very interesting... Yeah, agushi, and the Yorubas call it egusi.
Egusi.
Yeah, but it's actually a tropical species of melon, and it's the seeds from the melon. So it provides... it's quite interesting. So for you've found that it has nutritional benefits. There's a lot of protein in there. You're absolutely right. There's fiber, there's ash, there's carbs in there from that one seed, and there's oil in there with along with magnesium, sulfur, calcium, iron, zinc, potassium, manganese. And
calcium is very good for
the bones. Yes. Yeah, great stuff. All right, well, if you have any more thoughts, do share them with us on 0244340437, or you can also give us a call on 0302216541, and let's hear your thoughts. So far, here's what I've learned in this conversation, that it starts with knowledge, knowing your body and knowing what works for you.
That's right.
What are some of the resources that we can use to find out more about ourselves? And just not just about trying the foods, but in learning about ourselves. Is there any resource we can go to?
Well, my book.
Okay, all right, that's a good start. That is a good start, and that's the book titled
Vegan Creole
Secrets. Yes,
that's
Vegan
right.
Creole Secrets, and basically you've taken meals that originally were not vegan.
That's right.
And you've put a vegan twist on it.
Yes, and it was a real journey for me, because it was reconnecting even deeper with my roots, the Afro roots, because being vegan in America, for example, it's a lot of, let's say, salad or kale or this or that. But then I realized that, wait a minute, our food, we have everything that we need, all the nutrients and everything. So I just reconnected with my own culture. That was the process. Okay,
great stuff. So, and this seems like a lot of practically, like experimenting and experiencing as you go along. Your life before becoming vegan and your life after vegan. Paint the two pictures for me.
I think, like I was explaining, if you eat a lot of sugar, then you have a breakdown. Yeah, that's right.
And then you dip.
That's right. And I was really eating a lot of sugar. Becoming a vegan helped me to reduce that almost to nothing. I couldn't live without chocolate. And life as a vegan now, I don't need to crave chocolate as much as before. So it means my sugar is okay. It's resolved. I think heaviness from digesting meat has changed. So it's a different lifestyle. It's as a whole, it's just becoming more conscious about what I'm doing, the actions, because sometimes we do things because we're just programmed
to do those.
That's right. And becoming a vegan really helped me to be conscious about my action, because any action there's a consequence. So basically, really changed that aspect of my life.
Okay. So Dede from somewhere in the USA says, is it a myth or truth that vegans take a lot of supplements and vitamins to make up for their lack of nutrients? And then she's asked what you eat for protein. I know you mentioned something earlier, but it would be good to answer that question.
That's a really good question, and I have to admit that at the beginning, the first year when I became vegan, I was taking supplements because I didn't know where to get my proteins or iron or vitamin B. But at the end, I was like, this is not possible. You cannot be vegan and taking like 3-4 pills a day. This is not a way of, might as well just eat meat. So that's why it's a journey where you really have to research and find out what kind of food. There's a recipe in my book that I share called sauce pois, and it's basically beans. And there's so many different beans, but some of them have more proteins than others. So that's how you discover where to get your proteins and everything. So it's not a myth.
Yeah.
I think at the beginning, if you don't know what to eat, you will go for supplements.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why I decided to write a book, is to assist people who are starting the vegan journey, who are thinking of going vegan, to just give some, advice and to avoid doing what I did at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting when you talked about egusi. I looked it up quickly, and one of the nutritional information is that it actually has 30% protein. So there actually are natural protein replacements that you can have without having these supplements.
And now imagine if you mix the agushi with spinach. It's like you have a lot of
that's your own superfood right there.
Right there, yes. So you don't need the supplement anymore.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. Keep your questions coming, and you can also give us a call on 0302165541. It's 1:45. After at which point we'll hand over to the drive team, and then the news at 2 will also come on before Lexus takes over. Let's talk about your desire to impact women and more about empowering women towards financial freedom. Why is that such an important thing for you?
Well, once a woman understands her value, she can do everything. So to me, it's all about self-worth, self-esteem. And my music is all about that. Just this morning, I was rehearsing with a female band in Ghana. And
is this the Lipstick Band?
That's right.
Yes. Very, very famous all-female band.
Right.
Yeah, and they play some great music.
That's right. And, by doing this collabo together, we were bridging the gaps. So we were empowering each other. And by allowing yourself to be yourself, you're allowing the other women to be queens as well. And we come together and we're stronger. So it's important to acknowledge what you have, and then we just put that together. We don't need to be separated, divided. We just have to put things together. So to me, is like I said, once a woman knows her value, she can create, she can thrive, she can do so many things. And women are the roots of society. So of course we need to empower women. If women are doing okay, society is okay. When we oppress women, that's when chaos happens.
Wow, deep thoughts. Women are the roots of society.
They are.
And when they're okay, we're all okay.
There you go.
So if you want okay, then make sure the women are okay.
Right.
But the concept of empowerment is often one that is rooted in the person themselves. But the person in on themselves don't exist as an island. You are in a community. You belong to a family. How do we as a collective ensure that we're creating the right environment in which the girl child would grow up to understand their worth as a child, so when they're old enough they don't depart from it?
Well, I still believe that it starts with yourself. Why? Because in order for you to know you don't have self-esteem, well, you have to acknowledge it yourself.
Okay.
How can you get help, assistance, if you don't even know that you're lacking self-esteem? And then, yes, as a society, we need to have more workshops, more meetings, more awareness on the topic. But it starts with yourself. How can you change the world? You cannot change the world. You can change yourself, and by changing yourself, the world is becoming better. That's really from within. So
work on yourself, and you'll be able to change So if you can start that change from within, then it makes it easy for you to work with.
Well, when you change yourself, you're changing your vibration. If you are positive, you will attract positive people. If you are in a negative state of mind, you will attract people with similar energy. So by attracting more positive, then yes, the chain will grow. So it starts with yourself.
Right. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the conversation, and time really does fly. We have about 10 more minutes to go. And hopefully we can sample some of your music on the show before we end. But if you just joined us, this is the Executive Lounge with me, Nhyira Addo, and my guest is Spicy Beville. She is a songwriter, singer, an author, and she's just her maiden book is the Vegan Creole Secrets, where she's put some twist on some classic Haitian, it's a vegan twist on classic Haitian Creole dishes. And if you do know that the Caribbean is very much like West Africa, then you'll appreciate that some of the food and stuff that she's put in there are things that you and I can find and try. I certainly would like to try some of them.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The question of, the projects the other projects that you're involved in working on, which is empowering people and teaching them how to become economically independent, or rather economically free.
That's right.
What should we expect to see as you're touring Ghana and wanting to spread your reach of your impact?
In 2011, I got invited at UNESCO at the Youth Tour Forum, and from that, I think the idea was born. And today, the tour is Make Your Future Shine. And the focus is on self-worth and financial education.
Okay.
Because financial education, you don't really learn that at school. As a student, nobody told me about it. And as a teacher, I never taught that to my students. Financial education, it will help you to structure your mind, to understand that if you need to purchase something, will you go and save, or would you just go and have credits and then be in trouble and have debts? I think if we start with the youth and inform them, educate them on good manners, good ways to manage their finance, this will help the economy. It will help them first, the economy, the mindset. So financial education is more important than we think. And of course, it is related to your self-worth, self-esteem, how you see yourself. Like if you don't even imagine that you can be wealthy, that's an issue right there. Or you can come to a stage that you have a lot of money, but you don't know how to manage it. And overnight, you're broke. Both ways. So financial education is very important. So this project, Make Your Future Shine, is a tour in the schools. Okay. In Ghana.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be visiting a number of schools to teach young people financial education.
Yes.
How about a grown folk like me? I still can't save 2 CDs to save my life.
Well, we will have younger people teaching the grown people.
Okay. Well, teaching is, knowledge sharing is important, that we're all able to get that. But we are almost at the end of our conversation, and I'd like to say a big thank you. In fact, this for me is just one half of the conversation. We'll make time and try and understand more about your work, and maybe revisit some other places you've been, and see what kind of impact you're making. But it's a fantastic conversation that we've had so far. We're going to play one of that sample of your music, and share it with our audience and get their thoughts on it. Now, before I do that, or rather, I'm going to do that now, and then I will come back with my 5 takeouts from this conversation. And this is from your 3rd album, am I right?
Yes.
This is called Third Season. Yeah, very interesting way of titling your albums. The very first one was what? First Intuition?
First Intuition.
And the second album was?
Loué Louai.
Loué Louai. What does that mean?
I just made up that word.
You just made it up?
I did.
Okay, I like the sound of that. And then this is Third Season. And the track we're about to play is called Lontan Map Tan.
That's close. Longtemps m'attend.
Okay, is that Creole?
That's Creole.
What does it mean?
It's been a long time that I'm waiting.
Ah, longtemps matin.
Longtemps m'attend.
Longtemps matin.
M'attend.
I'm going to be learning some Creole. All right, let's take a listen to Longtemps matin from Spicy, my guest in the studio. She's a singer-songwriter and a teacher. She's vegan, and she also is an author. And she'll be touring our schools to teach young people financial management. The music is not going out. That's a real shame. Let me then just go into the 5 takeouts from this conversation. And number 1, from all we've talked about, the things I've learned, is that food is fuel.
Yes.
You need that to drive your passion, to drive your body, to drive your ambition, and to live out your full potential. And number 2 is that it is important. Knowledge is critical in all of this. That you need to know yourself, you need to know the foods around you in order to use them as the fuel you need to grow. And number 3 is the power of specificity. That you must define what you want out of this life. And in defining it, be able to identify what you need to achieve that goal. So, for example, Spicy mentioned, one food might work for a different body type and blood group, but it might not work for you. So it pays to be specific about what you want to deal with and then go after it. And number 3 is that we should listen. Until now, I don't think I'd have ever have used the expression having an internal ear. That if we can listen to our body, our body tells us what's working, what's not, and helps us make informed choices about what to do beyond that. And number 4 is that you can't live a life of learning and not be able to teach. Learning is like,
I like that.
Putting stuff in and then sharing.
Share it back.
So it goes to show that giving is important, but to be able to give, you must be able to take stuff in.
That's right.
To be able to give. So a life of learning will lead to a life of teaching, which will lead to a life of learning. So it's a virtuous cycle of development for all of us.
Nicely said.
And the final thing is that this world truly is a village, and challenge yourself and go beyond the boundaries of your comfort. All the way from Haiti, travel the world, and you've come to Ghana, and you want to reach out and touch people because you connect with your African heritage.
Yes.
And there are lots of people in the diaspora, but it had to take some courage for you to decide that you want to do this.
Yes, and I think it's about time now to do it.
Yeah.
To bridge the gap between cultures and have that conversation between us, black people.
That's right.
Because we are one.
Absolutely.
And
under one sky.
And music and food is definitely a way to bring us together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio, and I'd like to leave you all with my thoughts, which is, as always, go forward, make rain. Shalom. Up next is the news with Kojo Menu, and then Lex.